at Lime Rock Park. I'm in this Dodge Challenger Hellcat Widebody, the grippier version of the Hellcat. Just can't get enough of this car. You know, you'll let the amateurs tell you about it, and they'll tell you that this car is somehow scary and volatile and it wants to kill you, but that's just not true. This car is a sweetheart. It's incredibly docile. It's very easy to drive fast. Just don't do anything stupid. You know, if you have the wheel cranked and you floor the gas, yeah, of course the thing's gonna donut around. But if you roll onto the throttle, you've got a really, really nicely balanced suspension. Long wheelbase helps a lot. And the thing is surprisingly capable on a road or on a track. Yeah, you're not gonna be beating a Porsche GT3 around a course, but you can have fun. You know, it's all in the name with this car, wide body. 3.5 inches wider at the rear with these big fender flares. And of course, that allows room for some serious meats on the back. 20 by 11 inch rear tires versus 20 by 9.5 inch for a standard Hellcat. I mean, this thing pulls with these big tires 0.97 Gs. I mean, that's a figure that would be just unheard of even in a sports car from 20 years ago, let alone muscle cars from the 60s. In other words, this thing's got plenty of grip if you use it judiciously. And of course, the power is just obscene. 0 to 60, 3.4 seconds. Supposedly 1/10 of a second quicker than a standard Hellcat. Quarter mile gets quicker as well. 10.9 seconds in the quarter versus 11.2 for a standard Hellcat. One of my favorite things about this car is got these awesome Dodge performance pages. Just lots of great visual displays that you can tweak this car to your liking. You can adjust the transmission, the traction, the suspension, the steering. You can set RPMs for where you want to dump the clutch for your launch control, like in 100 RPM increments. You've got all these great timers to see your best scores and try to beat them. Of course, $72,500, you're not gonna have more fun in a straight up muscle car than this machine. And you know what, between the Hellcat, the wide body, and the Demon of course gets all the press and all the glory with 840 horsepower and these incredible drag times. But you know what, unless you're like a really dedicated drag racer, this wide body is the most versatile one of the bunch. It's got the most grip, the best steering, and if you can live with 195 mile an hour top speed versus 199 for the standard Hellcat, you know, that's 4 miles an hour that you're never going to use, but you are going to use the extra traction. Under the hood, you'll find the year's most talked about engine, a 6.2 liter Hemi monster with 707 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. And look at that supercharger. It's big enough for the Keebler elves, except these elves would be making meth and not cookies. Now the supercharger alone weighs 80 pounds and driving it off the engine's crankshaft consumes 80 horsepower. But once it spools up, this huge 2.4 liter blower pushes 30,000 liters of cooled intake air every minute. But even on the track, where this is a bit of a fish out of water or maybe a giant tuna, this thing can really hold its own, and you just take a steady hand with it and be easy on the throttle. You can set some pretty decent lap times in this car. Dodge themselves say that this wide body, just from the tire changes alone, can circle their road test course about 2 seconds a lap quicker than a standard Hellcat. That's about 13 car lengths. So you can just tell the added traction is a real benefit here. Now here at Lime Rock, you'd run faster laps in a Ford Mustang Shelby GT350 or a Chevy Camaro ZL1, but roll up to your neighborhood stoplight and it's no contest. As for style, I gotta say, I'm a Detroit native and I always loved the Mopar cars. They were the badasses, the ones the cool older guys were racing out on Woodward Avenue. This Hellcat is partly about 60s nostalgia, but I also like to think about heading back 50 years in time in the new one. The street racers of 1968 would recognize it, and then you'd blow them away with 707 horses. That's what muscle cars are all about. You blow some people's minds and you piss other people off. And of course, that V8 sound never goes out of style.